Welcome to DSEJ Home Classes, an attempt to connect learner with the instructor, a digital initiative by Directorate of School Education. Namaskar, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss a very important character or the organ of the plants in the chapter Morphology of the Flowering Plants, and the topic under discussion today is the seed. Everybody is aware of the word seed, but botanically, if we try to define the term seed, what it means, the ovule after fertilization develops into seed. A seed is made up of a seed coat and an embryo. And a true seed is a reproductive unit that develops from the ovule and contains the embryo, sporophyte, and the reserve food. The food is located either in the embryo itself or in some external storage tissue. How it is stored, I will be discussing in this lecture. And it is a fertilized mature ovule. The embryo is made up of a radicle and embryonal axis, and there could be the cotyledons are present there, which is one in case of monocots and two cotyledons in case of dicots. Now let us discuss the structure of the seed. A typical seed, how does it look like? Here is the diagram of the seed, as you can see in this figure. Now how a typical seed look like? The outermost covering of the seed, this outermost covering of the seed is called as the seed coat. The seed coat has two layers. The outer one is called as the testa, and the inner one is called as the tegmen. As you can see in the figure, the outermost layer is the testa and the inner is the tegmen. The hilum is a scar on the seed coat through which the seeds developing seeds are attached to the fruit. There is a scar in the seed coat through which the seed was attached to the plant from where it was originated. Above the hilum is a small scar called as the micropyle. Within the seed coat, you can see the embryo consisting of embryonal axis. It consisting of the embryonal axis and the cotyledons. These are the cotyledons. It could be the cotyledons could be one or they could be two. The cotyledons are often fleshy and full of reserve food material. At the two ends of the embryonal axis, these are the first one end and this is the second end. On one end is present the radicle and on other end is present the plumule. Radicle is the portion from which the root develops, and plumule is the portion of the seed from which the development of the shoot takes place. Now, two things which are very important in the structure of the seed are the cotyledons and the endosperm. I must mention here that in some seeds, the endosperm, which is the storage material, this is the endosperm, the storage material is present, and in some cases it may not be present. And on the basis of the presence or the absence of the endosperm as a storage material, food material, we have divided the seeds into two types: the endospermic seed or the non-endospermic seeds. These are the two classification of the seed on the basis of the presence or the absence of the endosperm in the seeds. We see various structures, differentiations in the endospermic and the non-endospermic seed. I have labeled here in case of endospermic seed, endosperm serves as a storage food material, whereas in the non-endospermic seed, the cotyledons are quite fleshy and serve as a storage of the food material. The basic differences we can see in these two diagrams, and the basic difference in endospermic seed, the endosperm is present. In non-endospermic seed, endosperm is absent. As you can see here, endosperm is present. Here, instead of endosperm, the cotyledons themselves have become quite fleshy. Food is not stored in the cotyledons in case of endospermic seed, whereas the food is stored in the endospermic seeds, in the cotyledons in the non-endospermic seed. As you can see, the cotyledons are quite fleshy. Then the cotyledons are quite thin and papery in case of endospermic seeds, where the cotyledons are quite thick and fleshy. In case of endospermic seed, perisperm does not develop from the nucellus, whereas the perisperm develops from the nucellus in case of non-endospermic seed. One very important point of difference: in case of endospermic seeds, the suspensor haustoria do not substitute for the endosperm. They are separately present, whereas suspensor haustoria substitute the endosperm, because endosperm is not present in the non-endospermic seed. Hence, the suspensor and haustoria take up its function. Examples of endospermic seeds are castor and maize. As you can see, this is the Arabidopsis thaliana seed. This is one more example, whereas the example of the non-endospermic seed is the Pisum sativum P. All the Leguminosae family shows the non-endospermic or the cotyledonary seeds. This is one way of classifying the seeds on the basis of presence or the absence of the endosperm in them. Another very important mode of classification of the seeds into two types is the monocot and the dicot seeds, on the basis of number of cotyledons present in the seed. This is the major criteria for the classification of the seed, because angiosperms, which are the most dominating group of the plants on the earth today, they have two major groups, monocots and dicots. The cot word stands for cotyledon, and this is the very important criteria for the classification. What's the difference between the two? In case of dicots, as you can see in the diagram also, here is the bean seed from the family Leguminosae, and here is the corn seed from the maize. It possesses two cotyledons. In case of these, you can see these are the two cotyledons. These are the two cotyledons, whereas in case of monocots, only one cotyledon is there. Here you can see the embryo is placed in the center. This is the embryo is placed in the center, whereas embryo is placed on one corner of the seed. This is one corner of the seed, and this is the embryo, and because the endosperm is occupying major place, they have the alluron layer. They may or may not have the alluron layer. However, the presence or absence of the alluron layer is not the major point of difference, because alluron layer may be present in monocots and may be absent in dicots also. But this is the major criteria of the classification. Now we shall, because I told you that the plants these are classified into monocots and dicots on the basis of presence of the cotyledons, one or two in them. So we will discuss the monocotyledonous seed and dicotyledonous seed one by one. Let us start with the structure of the monocot seed. This is the in this figure you can see this is the maize seed, which is a monocot. Generally, the monocotyledonous seeds are endosperming, but some orchids which are otherwise monocots but they are non-endospermic, that is exception. However, all of them are the endospermic, and this portion is the endosperm. This is in seeds of cereals, and this is the diagram of the maize. The seed coat is membranous and is generally fused with the fruit wall. This is the seed coat. This is the seed coat and the fruit wall. They are fused with each other. The endosperm is bulky. Endosperm is quite large and occupies major portion of the seed, as a result of which the cotyledon is shifted to one side. And it stores food. The endosperm stores food. The outer covering of the endosperm separates the embryo by a proteinaceous layer called as the aleurone layer. This is the aleurone layer, which is the outermost layer of the endosperm, and it separates the embryo by this layer. The embryo is small and situated in the groove at one side of the endosperm. Embryo is small here. Now the embryo consists of one large and shield shaped cotyledon, which is called as the scutellum. This embryo, it is showing the structure scutellum, which stands for the single cotyledon, and a short axis with the plumule, and this is plumule, this is, and which will be functioning as the future shoot, and then the radicle, which will be functioning as the future root. The plumule and the radicle, they are enclosed by the sheath-like structure called as the coleoptile over the plumule and coleorhiza over the radicle. And in this way, this is the structure of the monocotyledonary seed. Now let us discuss the dicotyledonary seed structure. As you can see here, this is the dicotyledonous seed, and bean we have taken as the example. Here inside the seed coat, this is the one cotyledon. This is one cotyledon, this is another cotyledon, and because endosperm is not much prominent, as a result of which the embryonal axis is present in the center. Inside the seed coat, embryo consists of the embryonal axis and the two cotyledons. Often the cotyledons are quite fleshy and full of reserve material. At the two ends of the embryonal axis are present the radicle, which is a future root, and the plumule, which will serve as the future shoot. Now this is the hilum. Hilum is the point, as I told you, this is the point from where the seed was attached to its parent plant. Now the two cotyledons are present in the dicots, and one cotyledon is present in case of the monocots. Now, my dear students, I have to tell you that seeds do need a reserve food material, because they have to pass through a stage after detachment from the parent plant till the germination into the new plant, through a stage where they have to live of their own. And during that period, which is often called as the period of dormancy, when the seed is not showing the growth, that period it has to live on its own and needs the food as the reserve food material. If the seed is endospermic, then the endosperm serves as the reserve food material at that time. If the endospermic seed is not there, instead of this there is the non-endospermic seed, then in order to overcome the problem of the food supply, reserve food supply, the cotyledons become quite fleshy, and they serve as the food material for the plant, for the seed, till it gets the suitable ground and grows into a new plant. Now, my dear students, again I have to tell you what is the significance of the seed. Why seed? Why the seed is important? The seed is very, very important, and in fact the distribution and the dominance of the angiosperm on the earth is due to the seed. The structure has got developed, because of which the angiosperms have so much spread on the planet earth. The success of seeds as a propagule is due to many characters. Now, why seed has caused the dominance of the angiosperms on the earth? It's because of the various reasons. These are the various reasons. We will be studying them one by one. First is the dormancy, viability, reserve food material, protective coat, dispersal, and edible fruits. I will explain them one by one. First is the dormancy. What is dormancy? It is the resting period when the seed undergoes no growth and have reduced the cell activity or the metabolism, because it is the time when the seed has detached from the parent plant and has not grown into the next generation new plant, and it seems to be silent as the pulses inside the boxes in our kitchen. If we take out them, give them proper moisture condition, they start growing. In between period is called as the dormancy, because they can show the dormant period still being alive. That is why they have so much distribution and dominance on the earth. And that capability, I am talking about the viability now, the capability of the seed to remain alive during the period of dormancy is called as the viability. Larger is the period for which the seed can survive between the two generations, the larger is the viability. The reserve food material, we have discussed this in greater details. The reserve food material. The reserve food material is the food which the seed contains inside itself, which it eats during the time of the dormancy. It could be either in the form of the endosperm or in the form of the cotyledons, as earlier discussed. The protective coat, the testa and the tegmen, they are quite elastic, quite dry, and as a result of which they have the capability of protecting the seed inside for a longer period of time. Then is the edible fruits, that is the we eat the fruit and we throw the seeds, and seeds get a large diversity of the places where they get the chances of the growth and the development, and this is called as the dispersal of the seed. The dispersal of the seed is the very important phenomena which is responsible for the wide distribution of this group on the planet Earth, and let us discuss it in little more details. The seed dispersal. This is a distribution of the seeds to far off places from its origin. I mean to say, the plant may have originated at one place, but seed may reach some other place, may get better chances of survival at that place, and therefore that phenomena of traveling of the seed to far off places is called as the seed dispersal. This is very important, the seed dispersal, for the reproduction of the plants, as the flowering plants have different adaptations to enable their seeds to be dispersed to the far off places as far as possible. They use various modes. The seed itself shows various adaptations, or it may take the help of several agencies for its dispersal. It may be dispersed by the flow of the wind, by the animals either eating and their fecal matters being dispersed here and there, or they may stick to the body of the animals and reach wherever the animal reaches. They could be flown by the water, still maintaining their viability, or they could be blown by the explosion of the seed, and they are distributed to far off places. Therefore, the seed is very important precursor of the next generation of the plants, and in fact responsible for the dominance and better survival of angiosperms in wide variety of the environment. So that's all for the seeds. Thank you. Stay safe, and my dear students, the in this chapter the seed is very important topic, and you must go through in details and work out for some new questions which you can ask me either by ringing me up at my phone number, or you can place your queries at my email address so that and enable me to answer them. Thank you. Waiting for your responses. Thank you so